Okay everybody, get ready because we're jumping right into Green Lantern War Journal number 3. Written by Philip Kennedy Johnson with art by Montos, colors by Adriano Lucas, and letters by Dave Sharp. The title of this issue is Sinking In. John Stewart is in bad shape. Thanks to the wound on his arm, the Radiant Dead infection is spreading quickly, and former Lantern Varon couldn't be more pleased. You can actually tell a lot about Varon's character by paying attention to both how his dialogue is constructed and what choices are made regarding the lettering. When referring to himself as Green Lantern Varon, the title of Green Lantern comes first and his name is the same size as his title. The focus isn't on him, but rather his contribution to something larger. Compare that to how he refers to himself now as Varon of the Radiant Dead. Not only does he put his own name first, but it's larger and more imposing than the organization he's a part of, putting all of the focus and importance squarely on himself. Thanks to his bloated sense of self-worth and entitlement, Varon sees teams like the Green Lantern Corps and armies like the Radiant Dead as being beneath him. And yet he still seeks the approval of a superior, this time in the form of the Revenant Queen. Which just goes to show that anyone who's that dedicated to affirming their own strength and superiority is actually pretty weak and fragile just below the surface. Like any good Green Lantern, John refuses to stop fighting, which is honestly his biggest problem. According to Varon, the light of the Radiant Dead is especially effective against lanterns. The power of a Green Lantern feeds and amplifies the light of the Radiant Dead, meaning the more John uses his powers, the faster the infection will spread. And since John refuses to stop fighting, he's only moments away from turning into a Radiant Dead himself. John is saved by Lantern Shepherd. Actually, we get his full name, Lantern Keelan Shepherd, who takes both John and his mother back to Steelworks, where they can both get medical attention. Shepherd is thoroughly unimpressed with our version of John, since he both got infected and quit the Corps. Shepherd sees John as a lost cause, and is ready to just leave Earth behind and go find other Green Lanterns so that they can hopefully contain the Radiant Dead before it can spread to more planets. When John attempts to fly after Shepherd, his infection flares up. John is on the verge of turning into a Radiant Dead, and is only saved by Shepherd shifting them both into the space between moments, a kind of limbo where the living can commune with the souls of fallen lanterns. Which is a genuinely horrifying concept. The explanation they give is that the souls of fallen lanterns are bound to this place, so we can continue to serve those that follow us. So not only do you give your life for the Corps, when you die, your soul spends eternity helping your replacement. I guess this shouldn't be that big of a surprise, since they come from a universe where the Green Lantern Corps is a movement that follows John Stewart, and to some degree seems to worship him as a holy figure, so it makes sense that they'd be willing to do something so extreme out of their devotion to John's cause. It's here that the voice within Shepherd's ring makes itself known. It's the soul of the Kyle Rayner from Shepherd's universe, here to be the level-headed voice of reason that cuts through all of the arguing. Shepherd thinks the Earth is beyond saving and that John is a useless quitter. John wants to protect his mom, but not by doing anything that would take him away from her. She already lost her daughter, and she's in no condition to be living alone. If something happens to John, if he abandons that normal life, he'd be abandoning his mother too. But Kyle gets right to the heart of the matter. If John does nothing, the Radiant Dead will spread across the world, then the universe, and everyone will suffer, including John and his mother. Others will try to fight in John's place, and they will fail. It's happened before, in other universes, and this time will be no different if John stays on the sidelines. John goes to say goodbye to his mom. She's unconscious in her hospital bed, and honestly, I don't know if that makes what John has to say easier or harder. She's always been the person John looked up to. The example she set is what taught him how to be strong. And now her disease is taking that away, leaving behind an old woman who relies on him. But John looks at himself and sees someone who will never be as strong or as good as she was. And his greatest fear is that he'll go off to fight the good fight all over again, only for her to wake up and be all alone. And maybe this time he won't come back, and she won't have anyone left. But Kyle's right. If John does nothing, then the bad ending is guaranteed. So John heads off to save the world one more time, because at least that way there's a slim chance he can come home to his mom when it's over. But John's resolve may have come too late. At that same moment in the Amazon rainforest, Varon is leading a large group of people and animals as the Radiant Dead plague continues to spread, infecting every living thing it touches. The further into this we get, the more convinced I am that the power of the Revenant Queen is some kind of ultraviolet lantern energy. The ultraviolet lanterns are powered by negativity that you suppress instead of just dealing with, which results in that negativity growing into a force that overwhelms and consumes you, and it won't let go until you're finally able to face your inner demons and overcome them. John makes the interesting observation that the Radiant Dead infection seems to be converting living bodies into light constructs. If I'm right about this being ultraviolet energy, then the infection becomes the perfect metaphor for John's emotional turmoil concerning both his own future and everything going on with his mom. John was already being consumed by his own troubled thoughts and feelings, and now that internal conflict is manifesting physically in the form of an infection that's literally turning him into those bad feelings. And the only way to resolve any of it will be for John to finally confront, admit, and come to terms with everything that he's known all along but has been trying his best to ignore. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe this is actually something else, but if that's the case, then there are a lot of coincidences happening all at once. Like the fact that this issue has started to call out all of the unspoken feelings that John's been hiding behind a happy face. Since he's been home, he's felt constant frustration, sadness, and anger. On top of that, Varon has already succumbed to the same power that's currently eating away at John, and Varon expresses himself through vanity, selfishness, and a level of spitefulness that we only saw glimpses of when he had to play the part of a Green Lantern. Yes, Varon was a huge jerk when he was still alive, but it was never this bad until he started to embody the light of the Radiant Dead. I do wonder why it's super effective against lanterns. That may have more to do with the intention of the user than anything. The Revenant Queen has a vendetta against John, and this light is her own negative feelings towards him being weaponized, so it makes sense that it would be more effective against John and others like him. We're still no closer to knowing the Revenant Queen's true identity, but I'm sure there will be more clues as we get closer to the inevitable confrontation John is going to have with her. So that's Green Lantern War Journal number 3. Now I want to hear what you think. Why is the light of the Radiant Dead so effective against lanterns? Will Lantern Shepherd ever come around and be John's buddy? Does the space between moments fill you with existential dread? Tell me all about it in the comment section down below, and consider subscribing if you haven't already, because every new issue gives us another piece of the puzzle, and you're not going to want to miss out on any of those discussions. So until next time, thank you for taking the time to watch. My name is Dan. We'll talk again soon.